Welcome to GlassManager, a business management software designed for commercial and residential glaziers. This software is all about helping you run your business in an easier and profitable way. I'll be covering the key functionalities of GlassManager in this overview demo. Welcome to your GlassManager dashboard. Whenever a person logs into GlassManager, this is the first thing that they will see. GlassManager is a cloud-based system, meaning it could be accessed anytime, anywhere, using any smart device. Over here up top, you see your standard widgets and two charts that are giving you an overview of how the business is doing in terms of revenue and activity. This dashboard is customizable, so you can control what people can see. On this page, you'll be able to see your most recent projects, work orders, and so on. From this page, you can also create new items and also edit existing ones. GlassManager is a very comprehensive system that covers everything in your people and everything in your workflow. Over here up top, you have a search bar that combs through everything under your people menu and everything under your workflow menu. And over here to the right, there's a quick estimate function that allows you to do a very quick price lookup if in case you do get phone-in and walk-in inquiries, you'll be able to get back to them with a price right away. There's also a time tracking functionality, which allows you to track the time of your staff while they're on site against jobs or even shop time. There's also news and notifications that a user gets depending on his or her role. Now, under the people menu, there is a built-in CRM system, which allows you to store as many customers as you would need. And then up top, you have your filters, and for you to add a new customer, you just have to hit on plus new. Under a sample customer, you can store a lot of very useful information. So you have your standard address, you could indicate a default account representative, things like invoice term, labor rate, all of those things could be configured so that way whenever you create a job for that customer, it's just easy and automatic. On top of that, you could also store multiple contacts under a customer, several locations if in case they have different branches, and even the information of their parent and sister companies should you need that for billing purposes. And then over to the right, there's also a workflow tab that shows you all of the related workflow items under that specific customers. These are individual links. Should I click them, it will show me all of the projects or work orders under that specific customer. And then there's a payments tab that shows the balance of that specific customer and their most recent payments. There's also a customer statement that can be downloaded should you wish to do that from GlassManager, and it'll show you a breakdown of all their jobs and their corresponding balances. Meanwhile, another section are notes, documents, and work notes that you can store under a specific customer, a very useful spot for any information that you might need to keep in mind. Meanwhile, there's also a supplier or vendor database within GlassManager, and here you can store all of your suppliers. The layout is very similar to the customer, so it's hard to get lost. And then over here, you could set up things like vendor term, default tax codes, and of course, there's also a preview of how many purchase orders are currently ongoing under that supplier. Lastly, there's the employee database. So in here, you can store as many employees as you need. You have your filters up top, and I'm going to go ahead and click a sample employee. So under an employee profile, this is where you can indicate what license they have, whether they're a full user or a field user. This is also where you can add any other specific information related to said employee. You could identify their manager, specify their employee type, mark if they're a crew chief or a field supervisor. Apart from that, you can also control their access through this profile. You can override their username and password, enable or disable their access. This is also the page where you can configure their unique roles and permissions. So clicking on Manage Roles, you will be able to set which items they are able to access, what they can simply view, or what they have full control over. There's even a certificate tracking functionality that allows you to save licenses or safety certificates, for example, under their profile. And what the system does is it prompts you when it's time to renew, so that way you can keep your records up to date. Another feature is the pay scale history. So this allows you to store several hourly rates or wages under a specific employee. So the moment that they get assigned to a job that requires a prevailing rate, for example, the system will automatically take the correct rate when it comes to calculating your labor costs for your job profitability. Now, going to the workflow menu, which is the main section of GlassManager, there are different items that covers your day-to-day key activities in your Glass business, all of which can be done through GlassManager. There are estimates, purchase orders, and so on, and you'll see that they are all tied to each other. However, they all have their own individual dashboard. Now, when it comes to creating an estimate, a good way to do it is through the estimate dashboard. So in the estimate dashboard, you have your filters. You could filter according to status if you wish. You can also sort the following columns if you wanted to. To create a new estimate, you just have to click on plus new, and then in here, you could type in the additional information. So for job name, you could put in the job description. In GlassManager, you can handle different types of jobs. So you can have your standard project, you can have progress billing, you can even have AIA style for scheduled values, and of course your standard work order for more service jobs. In this case, we will go with the work order. And next, I'm going to go ahead and select the estimator. Now, I also have the option to categorize my jobs according to department. And now if I want to add a customer, I simply have to just type in their name or the characters, and this will double as a search bar and it will find the information for me. Then I get to select a customer contact. And then if you notice, the phone and the email are all saved in their profile, so they just auto-populated. I can also add additional description, things like estimate notes I could configure in my settings, price level, labor rate, and all of the other information. Things are moving really fast because they're all already stored in my system and I just have to select from a drop down. Meanwhile, I can also set an expiry date and even a reminder date so that the estimator will get a reminder or an email notification to follow up on the specific estimate. Now I've clicked on update and a unique estimate number has been generated for me. Everything that I entered previously has been carried over and I can now add additional information. So things like site information, again, it's all taking it from the customer profile, so I don't need to enter anything. It's saving me a lot of time. And then I just have to click on update site info and this will go to my PDF. Now if I wanted to add an estimate item, I have a few options. If I have an Excel worksheet that I'm pretty used to, I could keep using that and just upload that into the system. As long as the headers match, it's going to be really easy to upload it, and this section will auto-populate and still serve as your calculator for your estimate. The second option, and what we recommend the most, is a customizable material database. This is something we set up for every customer and no database is the same. And you can categorize it however way you want. It can be per supplier, per category, per your labor, your equipment, whatever you need it to be. And there's also another way to just add an item that's completely not yet in your database just by clicking on plus new. And these are the following units available to you for pricing. Now, GlassManager has the ability to create very detailed estimates and very simple estimates. It will definitely fit your needs depending on what you are hoping to create. There's also an ability to create subjobs. Now, subjobs is an excellent way to categorize your jobs or to organize your jobs based on sections or phases, for example. I'm going to go ahead and create a sample subjob over here. Now, if I want to add a piece of glass, for instance, flat glass, select my thickness, select the type, and this pop-up shows up. This is where I get to add additional information that's going to be specific to the glass I selected. I could select which subjob it's going under because I can have several ones. I could indicate the supplier that I like to order from, taking it from my vendor database. Then I could put in my dimensions, my width, my height. And if you notice, it's going to round it up to the next even inch, and I can also do fractions. and it's going to compute and do costing according to size. Meanwhile, the system will maintain the exact measurements to reflect on your PDF. You can override the description if you wanted to. And over to the right, you can see that you have your unit cost, your markup, your unit cell. Everything is already stored and automated. You can even issue line discounts if you wanted to. And for you to mark things as taxable or not, it's just as easy as unchecking or checking this checkbox. And you can even categorize your materials for better profitability tracking later on. If I click on save, it's going to take me back to the database, and I now get to choose any other material that I would like. For now, I want to add labor. I could adjust the quantity. In this case, it's not taxable, so I just have to uncheck that and click save. I can also drag and drop within my grid. The total will correctly reflect the figures. Now that I'm done with my items, I also have the option to add scope of work. Perhaps for my larger jobs, I could indicate a scope of work, omit my line items, and add exclusions. And I could even store my vendor quotes under my estimate if that's something I wanted to do within GlassManager as well. Now that the estimate is complete, I now have a few other options. I can add notes, I could add documents, and I could even add images. Anything that I would want to attach and send with my estimate, I could do that. I can even create a drawing straight from GlassManager. I could do a rough sketch of whatever it is that I want my customer to see, so they have an idea of what we will be creating for them. And this is also something I could do for my vendors. Whenever I want to send a rough sketch with my purchase orders, I can also do that using the same functionality. Now I just click on save, type in the file name, hit save. I can see it saved under the drawings tab. Now if I hit refresh, at the same time, there are different versions of the PDF that you can download from GlassManager. Depending on what you selected, a preview window will show you the PDF before you can send it or print. It will have all of your line items or scope of work depending on what you selected. Your terms and conditions will be visible in the bottom. You can also customize the columns displayed on this PDF. And I'm now ready to send this to my customer. I just click on send email. The PDF will be attached, and any other attachments that I included and even the drawing that I could create it, I could select which one I would like to send. And I simply just have to click on the email to field and select the contact information of my customer or type it and hit send. And just like that, the status of my estimate automatically changed to sent. Now, if I want to just do online approval, I can also do that through GlassManager. And the online approval is really useful nowadays, especially for a lot of service work jobs, because it makes approval much quicker. Your customer will be able to sign the document wherever they are using their mobile devices. This is going to mirror your PDF. They can type in their name, sign, click confirm. It will even take their location if they approved it. And as you can see, estimate was approved successfully. And one of the best things about this is if I was the estimator back in office, I would have gotten a notification and an email alerting me that said estimate has been approved. And now there's a work order that has been generated for me. Now that I'm in the work order page, I have access to everything that I need to know about this job. As you can see, there's a unique work order number that has been automatically generated for me. And I could easily view everything that I need from the screen. If I click on the items tab, it'll show me all of the items that I included from my estimate, all carried over. I can also easily access the estimate that I started off with through this tab. Now, if I wanted to accept payments, I could also do that through GlassManager. For instance, a deposit, I simply have to input that in, and this will be synced in your accounting system if you have chosen to integrate it. If I click update, it'll show under available deposits. Now, if I would like to create purchase orders, I have two options. I could go to the purchase order tab and click on plus new, or an even better way is to simply go to the items tab, look for the PO column, click the checkbox, this orange button shows up, and I just click OK. And just like that, I already have a purchase order with its own number. And I now have the option to add any additional information that I would like to go to my purchase order. Things like who's ordering on my behalf, which location I'm ordering from, and all of that will go to my PDF. I will show you how the PDF looks like. And your purchase order will look like this. Similar to the previous PDF that I showed you, you can also choose which columns you would like to appear. You can even create drawings at this stage as well, add notes, add documents. Now, if I'm ready to send an email, I just click on send email, select the contact information or type the name of my supplier, look for any attachments that I would like to include, if any, hit send. After doing that, the status will change to ordered because the system assumes that you've reached out to your supplier. I could also add a note if I wanted to. I could add any additional shipping information as well for tracking purposes. If I had done this prior to sending my PDF, it would have been included. Now, if I also wanted to manage my payables using GlassManager, I can also do that by going to the Items tab. Same process. And just like that, I already have a vendor invoice that I could also export to my accounting system. Now, if I wanted to track the items that I have received so far, there's also a received quantity column under the Items tab, and I simply have to input the amount that I've received so far, and that will also trigger a status update. So now it shows that everything under this purchase order has been received. Now, even my work order status changed to materials received just because the purchase order under this specific job already has a received status. So again, it's just helping you track your jobs in a much faster and more efficient way. If I go to the purchase order tab, I'll see all of the purchase orders that I have under that particular job. It could be 1, it could be 10, and everything will be accessible here. If I would like to create an invoice, I can also go back to the items tab and go through the same process. Click send to invoice. If I have any deposits available, it will prompt me if I wanted to apply that. Click OK, and I now have a unique invoice. And I have the option to modify the information if applicable, and to export something to accounting it's as easy as clicking this button. I can show you how the invoice will look like. Again, customizable columns. And it's tied to the same work order or project. And now, as you can see, the status also changed to send to invoice. If you would like to download a copy of the work order showing you all of the relevant information, you can just go to the PDF, select standard PDF, and you'll be able to preview it as well. And you'll see that the payments, the balances, all of it will be in here. And everything that, again, And again, everything that you need to know about the job is going to be easily accessible through these tabs. Another unique function to GlassManager is profitability. This feature allows you to measure your profitability on a per job basis, and it's going to stack your cost against your sales. Your cost is based on unit costs for your materials and your labor cost. Meanwhile, your sales is based on items that you had actually invoiced. Now, when it comes to scheduling, there's a couple of options that are available under GlassManager. Under the calendar menu, you will find a task calendar. Clicking on the task calendar will show you all of the scheduled tasks for the day, week, or month, depending on what you select. Everything is color-coded according to their status. As you can see, there are also filters available to give you a more focused view. You can search by customer, department. Meanwhile, if you would like to use the task calendar to create a task, it's very easy. You just click on the times tab. This pop-up shows up, which allows you to add the description of the task, any additional information. You also have the ability to attach tasks to customers, and to assign an employee, you simply have to select from the drop-down. You can assign crews or a single employee. At the same time, you could attach it to any estimate, work order, project by selecting it from the drop-down. When done, click Update. You can also see additional information related to the scheduled tasks by hovering on it. Another option to schedule is the group calendar. This is a more comprehensive view that allows you to view every staff member's individual weekly calendar. You could also filter the jobs that you like to schedule. You can select based on status. You can also enable additional filters such as location, only view jobs that are scheduled, haven't been scheduled, and so on. The moment you hit apply, your job selection will change. There's also a map view that allows you to see the location of the jobs. This is really useful when you're scheduling staff members according to proximity. They are also color coded. If, say, for example, you wanted to see all jobs, you'll see that the purple drop pins represent jobs that have already been scheduled. If you click on it, you will see additional information if there are multiple jobs located in one site. Meanwhile, the light orange pins represent jobs that haven't been scheduled yet. So for you to schedule a task, you just have to click on the pin and the same pop-up will appear. Now, going back to the week view, for you to schedule somebody using this method, all you have to do is drag and drop the job directly to the calendar of the staff member you'd want to assign. You can add information and their name will automatically show up. And of course, you can add more than one employee, even a crew member, and then you simply have to adjust the date and time. And you'll see that crew tasks will automatically have a different colored bar to indicate that that task is scheduled for a crew. Meanwhile, if you would want to create new crews or to manage existing ones, just click on the Manage Crew button. You will see all of the available crews and their individual members. If you want to create a new crew, just click on the plus button, type in the name of the crew, and select the color that you would want to represent them. And the system will prompt you to select which employees you would like to assign to this particular crew. Meanwhile, GlassManager provides various reports that help guide glass company owners and management to make certain business decisions. You have reports related to profitability, customer statement, and many more. A really useful report is the estimate tracking. It allows you to make certain projections about what jobs can come in. You could filter according to status, job value, and even customer, estimator, and so much more. Clicking on Generate Report will update it according to the filters. You can see all of the estimates listed down here. If there is anything that catches your attention, this is an interactive report wherein if you click on the estimate number, and it'll open the estimate for you. Another useful report is a purchase order report. This allows you to view all upcoming purchase orders. You could again filter according to status and supplier. And similar to previous reports, it's also interactive, so it's easy to access information should you wish to view additional details related to a specific purchase order. There's also a profitability report that can be really useful in finding areas for improvement, tracking which jobs made the most profit and how to possibly replicate that. And of course, you can also drill down by clicking on the work order number. That's it for your overview demo today. Thank you again for your time. GlassManager is an all-in-one solution designed for commercial and residential glaziers. It is designed to help you grow your business by helping you save time and money. If you're interested in knowing more about our services and booking a one-on-one demo with one of our product specialists, feel free to get in touch with us via phone or email, or you can visit our website at www.glassmanager.ca.